Council, it is 6 p.m. on Tuesday, July 14th. I'll call this regular meeting of the Barre City Council to order. First item on the agenda is the adjustments to and approval of the agenda. Council, I'd like an executive session between items G and H on the agenda. H, which is our last agenda item, is to appoint an acting city manager effective July 18th, 2026, and I'd like an executive session immediately prior to that agenda item if there's no objection.
So moved.
Oh, no, don't need it on that. Don't need it yet. So no objection? No. Anyone, any other changes to the agenda, sir? No? Okay. Ready?
Still so moved.
And a second, please.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to approve the agenda as adjusted. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, the agenda is approved. Thank you very much. Under Visitors and Communications, anyone wishing to address the council regarding an item that is not on the agenda? Hearing and seeing no one, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Sorry.
Oh, was there? Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
This is my first time doing this.
Come on up.
Okay.
And introduce yourself. Yep, sure thing. And introduce yourself if you don't mind.
Doug Finkbeiner. I run Dougie
Have a
Fresh
seat.
Catering.
Sitting is fine.
Okay. I run Dougie Fresh Catering, and I'm in the process of applying for a catering liquor license. And I was told to come in and talk to you guys, and you guys might have a few questions for me. And
Oh, okay, we've got that a little later on the agenda. So Visitors and Communications is for folks who are not on the agenda. So you're on
Okay, I
the
wasn't
agenda.
sure, sorry.
No, like you said, it's your first time. Don't be nervous. We're all friendly, but we'll call on you when we get to Liquor and Cannabis Control Board. Thank you. Okay, then council will move on to the consent agenda. We'll be approving the minutes of the special meeting of 6/22/26, the special meeting of 6/23/26. I believe the clerk does have some office licenses. I think you have one.
I have two. The National Nights Out event at Courier Park on August 4th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then I have a food vending license that I gave you all the information about. Munchie Madness, they would like to have their food truck down in Jones Brothers Way.
Gotcha, thank you. And council, in your packet, you had a temporary services contract with the manager. That was to complete some contract negotiations that he's already started participating in. So he'll be completing that for the city after his leave. You've got the fiscal year 27 council appointments that we need to make. That was also in your packet. We'll be authorizing the department heads to execute city-approved FEMA buyout closing documents until a permanent manager is appointed. And what I'd like to add to that, if there's no objection from the manager and the council, is to just copy the council on that and just let us know what they're closing on and when. We don't need a copy of the documents. We just need to know what they're up to. Okay, that would be great. You always had. That's why I suggest that. We'll be allocating up to $2,000 from the Italian Stonecutter Memorial Fund for the construction of a new flood-resilient garden bed at Denty Park. We'll be approving a letter of attestation for the Barre Partnership Downtown Vibrancy Fund application, and we'll be authorizing the manager to execute contracts, and I think you have...
There were two contracts, Mayor. One was $54,000 for Andrew LaRosa Architect, PLLC, and that was to do services related to implementation of the elevation grants, so that'll be paid out of that grant. And then it's an amount to be determined. Actually, and there are three, actually. The cover memo didn't have the third one, but an amount to be determined for Downs Racklin Martin for legal services for the Prospect Heights Development Agreement. The council selected the developer a couple weeks ago, which is DEW. We need to do a development agreement now. The city has used Downs Racklin Martin to draft our development agreement for Stevens Branch Apartments. Great experience with them, very thorough process, and we'll be working with that firm again for this development agreement. And then the third contract is, I don't have the exact number, it's approximately $60,000 for 3 replacement salt buggies. These were due to be replaced. The ones we have are out of service. The ones we've selected will much better. They're better buggies for our needs. They have a bigger salt capacity, so we'll lose less time having to go back to refill them. So that means our guys can salt the sidewalks faster. They have better salt distribution, so they'll use less salt to melt it. So all around, a nice improvement for the DPW fleet.
And all 3 contracts, council, were in your packet. Motion to approve would be in order.
So moved.
And a second,
Second.
please. Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Oh, I'm sorry.
I have just one small
Sure
thing
thing.
to add to the minutes. For the special meeting on June 23rd, under executive session 2A, I think we should include that the bid vendors were also joining us in that executive session.
Yep.
They just weren't listed, so I don't know can we just say bid vendors, or do we have to actually list who they?
They were in the packet, so I think it's okay to list them.
Okay. And then my other question is for those appointments, the FY27 council appointments, there's some vacancies, and I'm assuming that we can, when someone appears before us, we can appoint them at that time?
Yes.
Yes, that is allowed under the appointments policy, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, thank you very much, council. Under item 4A, we'll be approving the city warrants week of 7/15/26, and we will be ratifying the weeks of 6/24, 7/1, and 7/8/26. A motion would be in order.
So moved.
Thank you. It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed,
And I'm abstaining.
so noted. Thank you very much.
No, definitely
It was, well, it was
7:15.
made as one motion, so.
Okay, okay.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Ms. City Clerk, it's all yours.
Sure. Just a brief statement. We're still chugging along with the August primary absentee ballots. We've mailed out 491 at this date, received 150 back. I want to stress that please follow the directions that have been placed on the certified envelopes. Make sure your ballots are separated. The unvoted go in the unvoted. And the voted go in that certified envelope. We did have a few come back where they have all been placed in one envelope, and we cannot accept those as valid ballots. So we did contact them. Hopefully they will come in time to cure those ballots. So I just want to make sure that you all are aware that you're still eligible to request ballots, and just please follow the directions that the state of Vermont has literally drawn out for you on the certified envelopes.
Clerk is being very kind, but you ought to see her face. I've watched her open one when it's not right. And, oh, man! Throws it. They can't follow instructions.
How long would you say is it taking for ballots to go from your office to a resident's
Not long
house?
at all, actually. Not long at all. The initial bulk that we mailed out, which held about 300 and something people, were bringing them in within 2 days.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, they're good. They're,
The post office is very diligent now about handling the ballots and making sure they get out, and
Priority.
yes, they do prioritize those.
any other questions? Thank you very much. Under Liquor and Cannabis Control Board,
Okay.
come on down.
Now it's Doogie.
We have before us, council.
Doogie Fresh Catering.
Sir, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
So it's just sort of, we ask first-time licensees, we ask them to come in. When you renew next year, you won't have to come all the way down and do that. Well, just so we can give you a chance to
Sure.
plug your business, see if you have any questions of us, and see if the council has any questions of you.
Yeah, so this is going to be the first time applying for a liquor license. I've been a chef for 20 years. I've been running the catering business for now 4 years, which also includes my food truck, Dougie Fresh Heroes, which I set up in Courier Park a lot. And yeah, so as I've grown, I've had more clients inquire about, getting bartending services connected with the food service. And so I thought it'd be a great opportunity to maybe tap into a different market, and be able to go to the different venues around the state, wedding venues and stuff of that nature, and be able to provide bar service.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
And how is business?
it's going well.
Nice.
It gets busier and busier every year, so.
That's what you like to see. Good
Yeah.
for you.
Thank you.
Council, so this is usually very anticlimactic. Council, do you have any questions?
Just a comment. Just want to say every event that you've been at, that I've attended, you've been really great, great customer service,
Thank you.
great face for the business. So just continue the great work in Berry City. Thank
I
you.
appreciate that, thank you.
So I'll take that as a motion.
That is a motion, Mr. Mayor.
And is there a second?
I'll second, and I'll also say I've had your food and it's delicious, so thank you for.
Thank you, yeah.
It's amazing.
Fantastic. And how do people listen? We might as well let you plug your business. How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah. So you can find me at Courier Park every Wednesday, pretty much. I also do the Montpelier Farmers Markets on Saturdays. Burlington's a little far away, but I'm there every few Fridays for the South End Get Downs.
And a webpage or a phone number?
You can contact me at dougiefreshcatering.com or dougiefreshcatering@gmail.com.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So is there?
Council, motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, best of luck to you.
Excellent. So I guess I don't know the next step from here.
So tomorrow I'll push.
Well, you got to buy some booze.
Yeah. You mean with her?
Oh, with her.
Yeah.
So tomorrow I'll go into the Department of Liquor and Lottery website and push your application through.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so we upload it. They should have that tomorrow, so they should be in a position to approve you tomorrow.
Perfect. And then just go on from there.
You got it.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else under liquor and, no? Okay, then Liquor and Cannabis Control Board is adjourned. Mr. Manager,
Thank you, Mayor.
your final.
My final manager's report.
Report.
Yes. So Recreation Department, the Littles Camp is going on right now. There is still room in the CSI camp in August. Encourage people, if you haven't seen the pool mural, to go see it. They did a great job. And then just a general plug that Michelle has done a great job with the Recreation Department. The Littles Camp is fully booked. She has transformed the second floor of Alumni Hall into like I'd say daycare, but it's more than that. It's just unbelievable. So really encourage people to check that out. And for families in the area who are looking for something for their kids to do, the CSI camp in August, I believe, is the only one left with openings. We've also filled in all the swim lessons. So a lot of demand, and we'll keep trying to meet it. This year we had more camp offerings and they are still filling up. So, and Michelle runs these on her own. She's doing a fantastic job. Public Works, just the similar update as previous weeks. There's just a lot of construction going on and will continue to go on through the season. And just also, if you haven't been by the Camp Street area, the team has added a sidewalk from Hill Street all the way. It'll go past Lincoln Field, which was a really well-traveled area. Now there'll be a safer place for people to walk on that side over there. So, but the teams are doing a lot of work. They're also working Berlin Street, Seminary Street is shortly coming up. I mean, there's a lot of work planned for this season. And so you'll see the crews out there. Citywide reappraisal update. Grievance hearings have been ongoing, and they will continue through early next week. So there's been a stream of people here through City Hall every day coming for their grievance hearings, and those will go through next week. Then the grand list will be lodged. Tax rates will then come forward. I'm probably thinking first meeting in August, probably, Carol. Yeah, and then. SEM sites, I believe, did their next to last or maybe final data update, or they're ready to do their data update. The council approved a contract with the Granite Museum to do a whole lot of data collection for us, which was a great idea. They did a great job getting those files not just ready for inputting, but also organized. So we are in really good shape. We don't have an official date yet, but SEM sites will be launching sometime in July, which will be a great resource. There'll be a portal through our website. People will be able to find where their loved ones are buried, and we will be able to do all the back-end administration of the cemetery department from that software as well. It had been done all in Microsoft Word document. Jeff will remember this. Microsoft Word documents. Yeah. Individually saved on desktops, and we are moving to this software. So this will be, if something catastrophic had happened, we wouldn't know where some people are buried. But this SEMsite software is going to really transform our ability to have that record management and for people to interact and interface with our cemeteries. The first 2 microgrants have been awarded that were approved. The program was approved by the council. We had a retroactive approval of the Neighborly Berry Committee garden tour. They had come in before the council had approved the parameters. The Parks and Rec Committee reviewed it retroactively. The event met all the parameters, so that one was approved. And then Friends of the Mathewson Playground has an event approved for Heritage Festival. So that's up and going, and Parks and Rec Committee is doing a good job of managing those. I updated the council via email, and I was asked for an update at this meeting about the Habeb Dam project. I updated the council that we were notified by friends of the Winooski that they were going to have to put a pause on the project until at least next year. And I don't have too much more information to share other than what I shared in that email, but essentially, friends of the Winooski had to make a decision about hiring a contractor or not, because the contractor also had commitments. They had a date of late last month to do that. They didn't have the permits in place to be able to commit to the contractor, and so they decided at that point it was the reasonable thing to do, not having certainty about the permits, was to not commit to a contractor. So I don't have much more than that. I know they're continuing to do work on attaining the approvals necessary for the permit, and they're continuing to push forward on the project. It just won't be this year. And then it wouldn't be a last manager's report without an update about a potentially devastating storm coming through the area. The day has just been weird anyway. I think there's the yellow ominous glow from the Canadian wildfires, but we are expecting some tough weather later tonight. The team is in pretty good contact. We had a good trial run last week between myself and mostly Brian and Keith and Chief Vale. We're in pretty close touch about the things that we're seeing, that our officers are seeing, that our firefighters are seeing on the ground, and then Public Works is called in to often do the work that needs to be done to correct it. So the eyes, ears, and then the teams to come through to be able to address it are in good contact. And like I said, we had a trial run for the season last week. As we were talking a little bit before the meeting, Chief Cushman mentioned we're not expecting a lot of water with this storm, which is a good thing. We are expecting a lot of wind, so maybe some power outages. One really good reminder for all of these types of events is if you see a down power line, you hear a down power line, do not approach it. Call dispatch. 476-6613, and that will get one of our firefighters crews will go out and take care of it and secure it, and until we can get Green Mountain Power on site. But that's hopefully what the greatest risk is tonight, is just some wind damage, and not expecting a lot of water coming through. So that is it, and I think I'll just finish. Had a really nice farewell with staff and community members last week, and just one of the things I mentioned at the end, the mayor embarrassed me a little bit, but I did mention at the end that leadership is temporary, stewardship is ongoing, and it was a real honor to be a very temporary steward of Barre City, and I know it's gonna be in good hands. It's in good hands with the people up here. It's in good hands with the staff. And I look forward to transitioning to becoming a very quiet resident.
Promises.
Yes.
I'll be sitting out there on the first meeting, complaining about something.
Just unloads and visitors and comments.
So before we continue, again, a very, very sincere thank you. Thank you very much. You can do that. Well, Nicholas, like I said at your reception, I don't know what I'm going to do now, because for the past 3 years, people looked at the two of us and I was the chill guy. So I don't know what I'm going to do now, but sincerely, thank you. While you were here, baptized by water.
Yep.
Right after the large storm in '23, did an absolutely exceptional job, and had to make those tough decisions. And probably the toughest decisions were the buyouts. Mm-hmm. Because as I've told people again and again, we don't sit up here without a heart. The buyout program was never meant to make someone whole because they lost their home. It's a flood mitigation program. So the city is required, and it's our obligation, because we are giving up permanently the ability to tax a home. So when we buy those properties, we have to make sure that they make sense for the citizens as a whole, in terms of flood mitigation. And so many of those stories were absolutely heartbreaking. And Nicholas had to hear every one of those stories. And there were some folks who, unfortunately, their home, while they were certainly hurt and certainly damaged financially, their home simply had little value in terms of flood mitigation for the city. And we had to say no. And, it's with disciplinary actions, it's not an easy job, as we all know. And You know, you did it with integrity, you did it with professionalism, you did it with your temper. I gotta keep needling you about that, because like I said, you made me look like the show guy. But Nicholas, our city is better for your service, and I just want to thank you again. So with that, council, we will move on to the agenda. I'm sorry. Yes, of course.
Resident who had some severe drainage issues on Center and George Street. So I was just wondering what the plan going forward was going to be. You had mentioned that the police and the fire were the eyes and ears. That was called in dispatch as well. So just, there's a lot of issues with the drains not working over there. Last week was definitely a lot of water, but he says that on a general water storm, he has a lot of flooding over there in the street.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is the accumulated undersized drains that we have. I mean, the best thing we can do is dispatch the crews where it's the worst with the Vector and try to clear those drains best we can. Unfortunately, we have so many of those spots. It's not Center and George. There's just so many of those areas throughout the city that become those flash flood potentials. My house is one of them. The water in my house rises halfway up my lawn, and it's a question of, you know, letting the drains catch up, and it starts to slowly seep away. So if we had one or two of those spots, it'd be easier to target them, but usually the crews are chasing them. And usually by the time they try to get the worst ones that they can see, by the time they get around to some of the others, thankfully the drains have caught up.
Do you have an address or a name that you could pass on to Brian? And I'm going to ask you to pass it directly to Brian, that way, okay, yeah.
It's at Center and George.
Yeah.
And the problem is when whoever in the past installed that, they installed the pipe going through the catch basin. Crossed over, so it takes up the space. And until we change it out, it just doesn't have the capacity to catch up. So we know that problem is there. We have to go in and physically clean out underneath that pipe that was put in the basin. So it's at Center and George, we know what the problem is, we just can't fix it right now.
Bern Rose, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you. Just a comment. And Brian, thank you for speaking to that. Below our house is a totally collapsed storm drain. It's fallen in, and I don't understand why, when the city repaved Allen Street and replaced some of the storm drains up above, they didn't replace this one because it was already failed. So what's happened, and I called the office today to bring their attention to it, is that the water is coming down on the street and in the drains from above us, hitting that drain, and then it's shooting out into the soil just on the edge of the pavement, and it's already washing out the road underneath our street. You can see there's a large hole there. It's becoming longer and deeper with every storm that we have. So this kind of, I don't know if they can put sandbags alternately in that area to try to slow the water down, but it is going to, by the end of the summer, the road will be washed out from it.
Thank you. Yeah, noted, Brian?
Yeah, it's on
Thank
the
you.
list.
Yes, Councilor.
I have a question on something else separately, but I'll say just in response to the conversations about both the sort of street flooding events, Center and George, what Bern had mentioned, the Adopt a Drain program that we have talked about at council previously, every drain is mapped now. It is live. If there is a storm drain on your seat, you can't fix a collapsed drain. That does need to be referred to Public Works. But if there's a drain on your street that has debris over it, has vegetation over it, leaves and things like that, you can go to vt-adopt-a-drain.org or just Google Vermont Adopt a Drain. It'll come up there. And Barre City is now part of that program, so you can register for that, adopt that drain, name it. And we'll continue to be talking about that and rolling that out in weeks forward. And then sort of separately, I wanted to ask the manager, we heard a very good presentation on the importance of removing the Hebep Dam and their process for doing that. It is included in the flood resiliency plan as a key goal. is there anything that council can do to help that process? I realize they are sort of set back for the moment, but they will renew their efforts. What can we do from here?
Yeah, I think one thing that will be helpful to see through, I've started the conversations, is the risk to the city one way or the other, right? So I think one of the questions that came up was, is the city in a better risk profile, doing nothing and hoping the dam doesn't burst, or doing something that might cause some damage to properties in the removal of the dam, right? So when the dam is removed, it's going to release some sediment and debris, and the flow of the water will change, and that has the potential to impact some property. But if the dam breaks on its own, it could cause a whole heck of a chaos, right? That we might also be responsible for. So I have spoken to Passive about this question, and Passive believes, and I'm in the this was recently at the last Passive board meeting, so I'm working with Friends of Winooski on this for them to have it available. Passive believes it's in a better position to defend the city from a risk liability standpoint, from doing something and having that something possibly cause some damage than doing nothing and letting unknown damages happen, especially now that we've had expert opinions from people who are river scientists who are telling the city and the council that we are in a better position by removing it, right? So that now that there's been a proactive presentation, that there's been a proactive city involvement, and this project goes back I mean, the council's been briefed on this project and given green lights to Friends of Winooski for years on this. Passive believes it's in a better position to defend the city should something happen after doing something rather than not acting. So I think that's the next thread to follow, that it becomes the city's best interest from that perspective, liability perspective, to act on this project.
And may I just ask a brief follow-up question? Sorry, Councilor Spalding, which is that when they were presenting to us, my understanding of the permits they were seeking was not any alteration to landowners, that all of the alteration work they were doing was within the channel of the stream itself, which is public property, and that they were following a state-mandated process to simply notify adjacent property owners that there would be work going on next to their land. Thank you.
Yes, that's my understanding as well.
There were no, just following up on that question, there were no construction, I thought they were looking for construction easements or access easements.
I think access easements.
Access
Easements,
thank
yes.
you.
So I think as
Some of
far,
the
I mean, I
property
think
may
the
have.
council has certainly endorsed the project. I'm not aware that we haven't. But I think in terms of our support, I mean, I agree with what the manager has said in terms of it's certainly better to do the project than not, from a risk point of view, from an expense point of view, every way you look at it. But at this point, it's up to the Friends of the Winooski to get that access. Unfortunately, it's not something that the city could order someone to do. So while it's unfortunate, and I don't know the status of all the access easements that they've been seeking, I don't know how many have been successful, how many have not, but it's not something, unfortunately, that the city would be in a position to move along any faster one way or another. Yes?
My question is a follow-up to the question about the liability. Does it place us in a more, or just to clarify, it places us in a more difficult position with liability if we don't remove it, even though we aren't the ones standing in the way of having it removed?
Correct. That's Passive believes that it has a better case to defend the city if we remove it than if we don't remove it and there's damage that occurs. So yeah, so the city's liability profile, you're right, Councilor, could be impacted whether or not if the property owners don't provide the right easements or accesses, it would still negatively impact the city, in the sense that Passive believes it would be more difficult to defend the city from potential liability.
Okay.
Not that we would necessarily have liability one way or the other. Passive simply believes that it would be easier if someone were to bring suit against the city for liability pursuant to a flood. It would be easier for Passive to say, look, this is what my client did to prevent this, than if we don't do it.
Correct.
Well, what I'm worried about is if we don't do it and then it does break and then someone comes back and says, why didn't you do it? And we said we tried,
There you go.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's certainly on record, that we have been supportive every time that project has come before the council. We've never failed to support it as a body. So, but unfortunately, we're in a position where we're simply not the ones controlling the decisions at this point. Okay, any other questions for the manager? Okay, council will move on to item 8A on the agenda. This is a number of volunteer appointments to the Cemetery Committee and to the DRB. Taylor Dexter, how are you?
Good, how are you?
May I call you Taylor?
Yes.
Okay. It's all yours. You're seeking an appointment to the Cemetery Committee. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, and don't look nervous. It's okay.
Not to.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your interest in the Cemetery Committee.
I currently am the administrative assistant at Hooker Whitcomb Funeral Home. So I do spend some time professionally in Hope Cemetery. I haven't been over to Elmwood yet. And I also have a background working in granite manufacturing. So I've worked at a couple different places in town. So when I heard about the opportunity, I thought it would be like a unique place for me. Or a nice place to put my unique, professional.
Sure.
So, because I know the manufacturing side of things, and then I also know like the cemetery side of things, sort of.
Understood.
I'd like to learn more about it too, so.
And have you been able to attend or watch any of the committee meetings or spoken to anyone on the committee?
I have spoken to Heather on the committee. I haven't gotten a chance to attend a meeting.
Okay. And I asked this question of everyone, so you've thought about the time that it's going to take, the responsibilities, and you're prepared to allocate the appropriate amount of time and meet that responsibility?
Yeah, I have a flexible work schedule, so I'm able to attend meetings and everything.
Super. Thank you. Council, any questions? If not, then a motion to approve would be in order.
So moved.
It's moved and seconded. Take your pick.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, welcome aboard, Taylor. I'll see you at the next meeting on the council liaison. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And next council, we have Spencer Billings. Spencer, can I call you Spencer?
Yeah, that works good.
Okay, how are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Good, good. It's all yours?
Yeah, I'm a law student at Vermont Law. I've been living in Barre for about a year and a half now. My interests are primarily in land use issues, so an appointment to the Development Review Board would be awesome experience for me. I really like Barre, and I'm looking for a way to get more involved in the city. And I think this could be a great way to lend my skills to the town.
Fantastic. Now, when do you graduate?
December.
Oh, fantastic. Good for you. And you heard the earlier question. I mean, the only question I ask applicants, have you had a chance to watch or speak to, watch any of the meetings or attend or?
Yeah, I haven't had the chance to attend, but I did speak to Liz Turner, who's on the board. She's one of the professors at Vermont Law, and she's the one who recommended that I seek this appointment. Just
Fantastic.
thought it'd be a good fit, so yeah.
Fantastic. And just last question for me, you seem like you probably understand the time commitment required to serve.
Yes, sir.
And especially with the DRB, it's really important because, as you know, if they don't muster a quorum, it can push a decision out a month or more. And when we have such a short construction season, or with construction budgets being what they are, that can be a real hardship on an applicant. So you've thought about that and you're prepared to
Yes, sir.
meet those
Yeah, I'm ready
responsibilities?
to build my schedule around it.
Fantastic. So, council, unless there's any questions from the council, a motion to approve would be in order.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, motion carries. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Spencer. Appreciate your service. Michael Ornitz. How are you, Michael? I can call you Michael, right? We know each other, so I know I can. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Excellent. And you're also looking for a seat on the DRB? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, 53-year member of Barre City. I was a 48-year member of the Barre Granite industry. Started out as a manual draftsman, wound up in sales most of the time. And I'm just live in Barre, and I'd like to just participate in the running of the city in such a minor way, but still, it's something, you know. I don't want to be mayor or anything else.
You sure?
Yeah, positive. Very positive, but I thought maybe my 2 cents might be helpful in deciding some issues that come along.
Fantastic. And you heard the earlier question, you've thought about the time commitment required, and you're prepared to make that time commitment?
I am retired, so my time is mostly to myself and what have you, so I don't think that would be a problem.
Fantastic. Council, unless there
So
are...
moved.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second, please?
Second.
It was moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Thank you, Michael. Appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, council, next item on the agenda, this was documented in your packet, and if anyone would like to step forward on this issue, is the approval of the sale of a Hope Cemetery fountain lot. You can both come up. There's 2 chairs. Tom, why don't I let you brief us on this, even though it was in our packet?
Yeah. The cemetery committee and myself had looked at the existing fountain. It hasn't been operational in years. We discussed removing it and just paving over its present location. We got the offer to Joanna to purchase it and refurbish it. So I said, we don't have to spend any money to get rid of it, and we make a little money on the sale, and somebody else takes care of it when it's done. That was a good idea.
So I guess you can take it from here, G.
Mr. Mayor, councilors, I'm here to propose the purchase of the fountain lot. You've read my letter, you've seen the photos, you've seen the diagram, kind of what it will be. If you have any questions, I'll be answer them.
So you would be proposing, obviously, you wouldn't restore it to the point where it would be a functional fountain. I mean, getting the...
Yes and no.
And why don't you expand on that, if you don't mind?
It would have all the fixtures to do so, but it wouldn't be able to put water through it, because as the fountain stands now, there's no water running into it. If someone just figures out how to work a solar fountain, then it could be used. As it stands right now, there's no electricity, there's no running water, so it would have to be something powered on its own.
Yeah.
It would have everything.
And obviously, that would require not only an inlet, but an outlet.
Yes.
And if anyone owns an outdoor fountain, and the First Lady loves fountains, so we actually have a very large fountain at our home. And even in this kind of weather, you're constantly feeding it water because it evaporates very quickly. So I think it's probably a good idea. Thank you for your offer to make it functional. And if at some point in time, the city decided that they did want to run an inlet and an outlet to the fountain.
Have to set up a recirculator.
Yeah. And, my pitch to the council, because I think you're proposing to pay, how much for it?
It's a 3-grave lot.
Yeah. So my pitch to the council would be to, for the city to retain it, if that's okay with you, or work through something where I don't want your money. I don't think the city, I'm not speaking for 8,400 people, but when you get an opportunity for an artist like yourself to restore something, that's almost too good to be true. And looking at the amount of work that is going to be required to restore that, I think we're just fortunate to have the offer. What I would love to see happen, and I want to be fair to everyone, if you're going to donate your time, I'd love to see the city. And the other thing that comes to mind with with the city, selling you that lot, is there would obviously be some sort of responsibility for you to maintain it.
Yes.
And I know that as long as there's breath in you, you're going to maintain it. You're that kind of guy. But what about, as the manager said, we're stewards. So what happens 50 years from now? My thought, counsel, is that we work out a way to not charge Giuliano for providing this service to the city, and the city sort of renew itself once the fountain is restored. We could maybe say that, look, there are certain components that belong to you. I think we could work it through, G, but like I said, I'm not. How would you feel about that?
Works out. Well, I mean, it's no different than anyone purchasing a cemetery lot. Their descendants, that's their responsibility, so it would fall upon my children and their children to take care of it.
Yeah, and you'd be okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, like I said, I feel you're certainly providing a service to the city. So even if we do deed the lot to you, so you didn't have an issue, Tom, with us deeding the lot to Giuliano, then quite frankly, but you're a man of your word, your family is. So if you tell me that you're going to restore, I mean, it's not going to happen this summer, probably.
I'll straight out to the council, I cannot guarantee descendants.
I was going to say, I know your children.
I have kids.
Well,
I don't think anyone can guarantee that when they purchase a cemetery lot, put up a monument and, decide to take care of it. But
no,
that's
I
the
get
idea.
that. Yes.
Is it possible to lease the land to Giuliano for a certain period of time and then it goes back to the city so that he can have the ownership of it, and then it goes back to the city after, I don't know how old you are, but let's say 50 years?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying, like, because.
Listen, what I'm certainly willing to offer is I am 200% in favor of what you're trying to do. I'm just wondering if we've really thought through, okay, what is the best way to do it? Is it, I feel fairly adamant that when you receive an offer like this, you decline accepting money for it, because you're actually providing a service to the city and to the cemetery. There's members of the cemetery committee here. I don't know how they feel about that. But my preference would be, even if where we end up is selling Giuliano the lot, we do it at a nominal price with the condition that the fountain, has everyone seen the fountain recently? I mean, we're not talking about a small job here.
Right. It's a big job.
This is something when Tom looked at it, and even the cemetery committee, we looked at it and said, maybe we're better off just kind of throwing it in a dump truck and paving over that spot. So the thought that someone, especially an artist, would be willing to take this project on and make it something beautiful is, because keep in mind, we're never going, so Giuliano's offering to purchase the lot. It's not a grave lot. It's in the middle of it's in the middle of like an intersection. Think of it as almost a roundabout. You drive around the fountain. So it's not a lot where we're going to bury people.
I mean, theoretically, could you get buried underneath it if you bought it?
Oh, Lord.
I'm just curious.
I mean, you and dynamite and fire trucks, and now where are we going to plant G? Okay.
That's taken care of.
Yes, ma'am. Of course.
We haven't addressed this at the cemetery committee meeting yet.
Can you come up to the table?
Yeah. Would you be okay with that, Giuliano?
Well, Nicholas and I had the conversation, and he felt that I mentioned bringing it to the committee, and Nicholas felt that this is where it should be settled.
Okay, no, and thank you for that, because the council, with regard to real estate, he's 100% correct. So ultimately, this is where it will land. but I think it's probably more appropriate to, if you don't mind, Heather, thank you for the offer, to shoot it back. Yes, Carol?
I just wanted to give a cemetery 101 on how lots are sold.
Right.
If you're not selling land. The people who buy a lot up there don't get a deed for the land.
Correct.
You essentially get a deed for use of the space underneath. And the same kind of thing would happen here. The cemetery department sells lots all the time. So it doesn't have to necessarily come back to council if it was ultimately treated as a 3-lot plot. The other thing is that the way things work right now is 20% of a lot sale goes into the perpetual care account.
Right.
So there would be funding that would be available perpetually to help with ongoing maintenance.
Yes.
Also, there's monuments up there now that we don't know if anybody's alive in that family. And eventually they get cleaned. Between the money we get from the different groups that pay for monument cleaning within the cemetery, I don't have a problem with doing that, giving him the fountain. And I know, from my years being there, it'll get cleaned. If G's gone and his family doesn't take care of it, it will get cleaned eventually.
So yes.
A brief monetary, I totally agree. I don't want to charge you for the lot since you are providing an incredible service. Pursuant to what the treasurer mentioned about 20% of lot sales going into a perpetual care fund, could we look at transferring 20% of those 3 lots from, for example, the Cozy Fund for Hope Cemetery into the perpetual care fund with the idea that this would be treated like any other cemetery lot, and then as Councilor Bergeron mentioned, sort of just fall under their perpetual maintenance of the rest of the cemetery, even though the lot belongs to the family?
We could, or we could charge you, I could totally renege on what I said earlier, and we could charge you 20% of what you were offering to pay for a 3-lot, and that 20% goes into their perpetual care fund, and then you feel good about it, we feel good about it, because we know that the money's there, and as you said, your ancestors won't have to, or descendants won't have to worry about it. What do you think? I'll leave it up to you, Julie. This is, like I said, this is a generous offer. I'll leave it up to you. We can do that right now, or if you'd like to work it through and talk it through with the cemetery committee, you can do that as well.
First of all, I didn't want to see city money going into it. I would rather pay for the perpetual care and go from there.
Yep. Okay, so we'll do the 20% of what the... $590. Motion to approve would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thanks, G.
Thank you.
I appreciate, seriously, I appreciate your willingness, because I don't think any of us really felt good about removing the fountain, but it was just, like I said, requires someone like yourself who understands stone to actually restore it. So thank you again for that.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, council, we're at item 8C on the agenda. We'll be approving the Cemeteries Committee request to allocate $20,000 from the Perpetual Care Fund for the monument cleaning and the maintenance of Elmwood and St. Monica's cemeteries. Star, is this yours?
Well,
I think, or is this you can, if.
we're all back here.
Well, no, who's?
She's the mentor in the whole process. She's the one who walks us through it, but.
So obviously, Carol, this request wouldn't be here in pursuant to the generosity of Mr. Cozy.
This is perpetual care money.
Oh, okay.
This has nothing to do with the.
Oh, it's not. Yeah. But the Cozy Fund certainly makes it easier to transfer perpetual care money, doesn't it?
The Cozy money, though, is tied up for Hope.
Right.
What we were doing was trying to find money that will support ongoing maintenance at
Right.
St. Monica and Elmwood, And that's where the perpetual care fund allows us to do that.
Right. And the perpetual care fund is not tied to any specific cemetery. So my point was, because of the COSI fund, which absolutely is dedicated exclusively to Hope, because that is now, the COSI fund is now generating maintenance revenue for Hope Cemetery, we can sort of shift our focus a little bit because Hope is being taken care of, and shift our focus to the cemeteries that historically the city has not had the funds to maintain them at a level that we would prefer. Accurate? So that's where we're at. So, Dom,
Well,
in favor, or?
Yeah, we came last year and requested that the Russell Fund be approved to do stone maintenance and cleaning at Hope, because it was designated specifically for Hope. Now we're trying to do the same thing for the other two.
Trying to get something started.
And as the chair of the cemetery committee, you're,
We are so 100% behind. We're slowly starting, right? We're not breaking the bank, but we're slowly starting. We have contractors lined up to work, that Tom's going to work with. We have a plan. We're good. You're going to actually see some work in St. Monica's and see some work in Elmwood.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's really all good.
Any questions, council? If not, a motion to approve would be in order. Thank you.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any questions or comments, council, or anyone in the audience? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't spend it all in one place.
We won't.
Actually, ideally you would.
In two places.
And I got to tell you, Star, while you're here, I'm
Okay,
the
there we go.
liaison to the cemetery committee, and we're fortunate in the city to have a lot of great volunteers. But I got to tell you, everyone on that committee, Eileen, she just left. Everyone on that committee is passionate about the cemeteries and about honoring people who are buried there and maintaining them adequately. So it's an honor to serve as a liaison, because you can feel the energy in the room when we talk about doing things at Hope and hopefully a fountain in the near future. And not the Giuliano fountain. I mean, a really big fountain, compliments of Mr. Cozy. And it's a really exciting time to serve as liaison. So thank you for the good work that you do. You keep it going.
So we'll see you Monday.
You will see me Monday.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Council, we're at item 8D on the agenda. We need to approve a fire truck purchase. Chief?
Good evening.
Did you read?
Council, you had a fairly thorough briefing in your packet. If you want to, just for folks who may be watching this or didn't get the benefit of looking at the packet, you want to run through it, Chief?
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little history lesson. In the early 2000s, we got really behind on apparatus replacement. And in 2009, we bought a fire truck, and in 2010, we bought another one to try to get us out of the hole. I was here last summer asking you to approve money for a fire truck, which we took delivery of this past fall, and that was replacing a 32-year-old fire truck. That was the last hump to get over with the aging fire apparatus and trying to keep our fleet current and keep our maintenance costs down and maintain some resale value when we do replace them. I believe the 32-year-old fire truck sold for $5,500.
No, we said
So-
it's a Cuba.
And worth every penny, I might add.
Absolutely.
That's the whole thing.
So we made it over the hump with that truck that we purchased last year. This truck is slated for a delivery in FY30. And it's replacing a 2009. And it's following the city's capital improvement plan, for 20 years for fire apparatus. Now, you might think that there's a long time between now and then, and why are we ordering now? Well, the industry has gone that way since COVID. Delivery times are 3 to 4 years for fire trucks, ambulances. I think the Director of Public Works could probably agree with dump trucks even. It's very extended. So we're trying to stay ahead of the curve, get that order placed now so we can ensure that we're going to take a timely delivery and help secure what our purchase price is.
Yeah. So, council, any questions?
Well, which truck would this replace?
This is replacing what we affectionately call one of the twins.
Yes.
So it's the the flat top black roof trucks. It's called Engine 1, which is the 2009. Is some over 70,000 miles on the truck now.
So the previous one you just got replaced, the older, one with the white roof?
White roof, yeah. Engine 3, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Who buys a used fire truck?
The one that we sold actually went to...
was overseas
Cuba, right?
somewhere.
Didn't you go to Cuba?
Haiti.
Haiti.
Went to Haiti.
Okay.
And it's there at a community college. I've actually emailed the gentleman that bought it, and it's used daily for training their fire service in Haiti.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so, I mean, there is a market for, smaller municipalities where you just have the demand that we have here in Barre, and we don't have the luxury of having, in the event of a general alarm, we don't have the luxury of having fire trucks go down. So usually what goes on them, I know Engine 1 has had some electrical.
It's electrical computers.
It's always electrical issues that.
Heating and cooling cycles, salt water, getting into connections, it's inevitable. And unfortunately, these computers or modules, depending on what it is, they're $4,000 to $7,000 a piece. And actually, we've done 3 on Engine 1 in the past couple of years. So it's when you look at the truck, it's actually in really good shape physically. But we don't want to get to the point where we continue to throw money at the electronics and then find out the electronic components are no longer available. Right. And that just tanks your resale value.
And the issue is when they go down, they're down.
They're down.
And then you have to order a board, or if you can diagnose it, you have to order the board, figure out. So, you've got an engine down. So, look, it's just best with essential pieces of equipment, ambulance, fire truck. You just got to have them on a rotation. And these are, give or take, council on a 20-year, we use them for 20 years. We use them for a long time. But then it's time to rotate them out. So, what's your pleasure, folks? Motion to approve would be in order.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Thank you. It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Wouldn't let me.
Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion that's presented, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Chief.
y'all.
Thank you.
If you're watching at home, treat yourself to reading the fire truck manifest.
Can I get a quick 5-minute recess? I just noticed that I was going to use a presentation to guide the water sewer and
Yep, no.
If I could just run to get the.
You go right ahead.
Try to get them loaded up. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. I'll just put this on mute and. Back on.
Oh, my God.
Okay, we are good. All right, council.
So awesome.
We will be moving on to item 8E on the agenda. This is to set the fiscal year 27 water sewer rates and approve the water system rate study.
All right, I will pull up the presentation, and Brian and Christina, I think he went to get his wig.
He
Yes,
did.
he did.
He did.
That's going to make no sense to
I hope
anyone.
they're gonna come to the table with them on. No, it's not required. No.
Is Dave still listening? Yes, he is. Great.
Read about this later this week. Can't wait.
This has talk of the town written all over it.
You have pictures.
Oh, thank you, Brian. I've had nightmares for weeks.
It was rather comical this morning.
We didn't get a lot done at the meeting this morning. So thank you, council, for the indulgence on the break. We were having a network issue, so I was able to download this presentation. I thought this would be helpful just to walk through it. So our water and sewer system, very basics. Water and sewer system is funded by rates. These are called our enterprise funds, and it's both water and wastewater, and they cannot be commingled with general fund resources. So when we talk about the water enterprise fund and the water system, that includes both the water treatment facility in Orange and the water distribution system, all the pipes under the ground that bring water to our houses and businesses. Wastewater, when we talk about the wastewater enterprise system and wastewater system, that similarly includes the wastewater treatment facility down on the north end and the sewer collection system that collects the waste that is brought to the plant. The city has intermunicipal agreements with Barre Town, so Barre Town, and that provides for the terms of rates paid by those customers. And then the rates that we do charge are for the system. They are set annually by the city council for the upcoming year. The enterprise funds have been operating at deficits, have been for the last couple of years, and would be under the rates we're proposing. Water does have an accumulated fund balance that has been absorbing some of those losses, although that fund balance is depleting. And we certainly don't want to be in a position where we do get into an actual true deficit situation. Wastewater has an accumulated deficit, and it continues to grow, and that is one of the many reasons that the city commissioned a wastewater rate study, which is being done by Wright Pierce. This is also in alignment and coordination with the 20-year review of the plant. That rate study is due later this year, and that will give the council, the city, the staff guidance about how to bring that system out of deficit. I do talk about this a little bit later, but just as a preview, we feel, even though that is an accumulated deficit, we feel better about it. Brian and Jake have done a really good job of improving the way we collect data to charge Barre Town. So if you've read in the Times Argus recently, Barre Town's had some difficult conversations about what they're paying for wastewater, because we are doing a lot better job of data collecting and charging them what they should be charged for their contributions to the system. The water fund balance, as I mentioned, has helped us finance some important things like the purchase of the DPW garage, and those funds will be repaid. We have a promissory note with ourselves, essentially, to repay that over a 15-year period. So just the cost to operate the system, when we talk about the water system, it's about $3.5 million all in. The treatment plant is about $2 million. The distribution system is about 1.47. If you look at the distribution of the costs, 23% is basically the staffing cost at the treatment plant, 38% staffing cost in the distribution system, and 76%, for lack of a better term, they use a lot of chemicals up there. It's like a chemistry lab up there, right? So the chemicals, the pumps, the equipment, all of that they use is the rest of it. And similarly for distribution, it's 62%. So looking at the note at the bottom, if you remember from our budget conversations, when we talk about the citywide budget, the general fund budget, we're generally talking about a 75% of our cost to operate the city, the general fund budget that voters approve, is personnel. Very different picture at the water and wastewater system. As you can see here, certainly on the water side, very low percentage of our cost is the people running it. Big percent of the cost is the cost of the material, supplies, equipment, the plant itself, the pipes in the ground. All of that is what's really the expensive part of it. Wastewater system, a little bit more expensive to operate, $4.3 million. The treatment plant is about $3.2 million of that, and the collection system is about 1.1. And again, the plants you can see are identical in terms of their proportion, 23% staffing here, 76%. The chemicals equipment side of it, collection system a little bit different, closer to split, about 47% staffing, 53% on the equipment side. But again, nothing close to the general fund budget, which we are a people-heavy organization. We have police officers, firefighters, planning, zoning, recreation. So that a lot of people make up the general fund part of our budget. On this side, the rates are really supporting the actual operation for the most part. The human costs are fairly low. To increase the rates to generate $3.5 million on the water side and $4.3 million on the wastewater side, we would have to increase rates by 35% and 40% respectively. And that, as I, say here, that's not sustainable. We wouldn't recommend that. We can't do that. Residents can't absorb that. What we are instead asking the council to approve today is 10% increases on the use rate of both systems. And to break it down a little bit further, when the council sets the rates, there are two parts of it. There's a base rate that is paid, and then a usage rate. The base rate is basically what everyone pays just to be a customer. The usage rate is what you pay based on what you consume, right? So what we're proposing this year is no change on the base rate. So there's no change in your bill in terms of being a water customer or being a sewer customer. But the increase will come on the usage, right? And so that's the only part of the rate we're proposing to increase this year. If those rates are approved, the water system would still operate at approximately a $300,000 deficit, which can be absorbed by the fund balance, although there's a limit on that, right? It could probably absorb those types of deficits for the next 4 or 5 years. After that, it gets really hairy, and we don't want to be in that situation. But for this year, there is a way to absorb it. The wastewater system would operate just slightly lower at a $285,000 deficit, which unfortunately just grows the accumulated deficit. But the city will have better information next year on a path forward, long-term path forward to climb out of that with the rate study. And speaking of that path to sustainability, I've alluded to it. We have the Wright Pierce report, as I just mentioned, coming next year. That's why we're similarly recommending in this year's agenda item that the city commission a similar report for the water system. The water system, as we said, has been in good shape, but part of that is part of the reason we've slipped into deficits is because we're doing a ton more work. Every time we pave, we have to do water work, right? So the really aggressive paving plan that we had last year, Berlin Prospect, Allen, I'm forgetting one, but that comes with increases on the water side, because when you see our crews preparing those streets for paving, they're mostly doing water, or a lot of it is water work, right? And so that has to come out of these rates. And so when we've done more of that work, that has increased the costs on this side of the ledger as well. As I mentioned earlier, we've improved the data collection on the wastewater side, so we are seeing increases on revenue from the Barrytown component of this, and over time that will help stabilize the wastewater side. Although we also can't make broad generalizations because, as we all know, the Hood plant is closing, and that was also a contributor to the wastewater system. Certainly something will go up that we don't know yet. So it's hard to make long-term predictions on Barrytown revenue without knowing what happens there. The water system, like I said, it can absorb deficits for the short term, but in the long term, we certainly don't want the city to slip into the situation that we slipped on the wastewater side, which is an accumulated deficit. That's why a rate study we think would be beneficial. So next year, when the council is setting these rates, you have information from experts to guide you about how to put these systems on a path to long-term sustainability. Can't underestimate, I know you all know how important these are, but just again for the public, when they look at this really difficult decision that is before you, both systems operate under state permits. We need permission from the state to run them, and we have to make improvements and maintain regulatory standards. And we can't. And we have operators who have state permits as well, and their permits are also dependent on running sound systems. The costs, and I mentioned this earlier, the costs of the water system have increased because of the work we are doing. That's all work we want to keep doing, and the council wants us to keep doing. It just also comes at a cost on this side of the ledger as well. As I mentioned, it's not just a cost on the street side, it's also a cost on the water system side, because we have to make those, it makes sense to make those improvements at the same time we are paving. And a note on it should say wastewater treatment plant, I'm sorry, that's a typo. The wastewater treatment plant is also under an assurance of discontinuance order with A&R. This was over a leak, a spill, a minor, what was it called, Brian, technically, like
It was just a release.
A
right?
release, a minor release 4 or 5 years ago. So we also have to stay in compliance with that. We are in compliance with all of the components of that AOD except the staffing. I think we've mentioned in the past that ANR is requiring us to hire 5 additional staff at the wastewater plant to be in compliance. That is not funded in these rates, not sustainable in these rates as we believe it at this point. And at this time, we think, I don't have a better word other than punitive. And so we, at the same time, even though a 10% increase is difficult to swallow, we have this to back up against as well, that we have to run systems that are permitted by the state, regulated by the state, and we have legal obligations to do it in a sound way. Hopefully the idea is here, keeping these systems, I don't know, solvent is not even the right word, but just in the range of solvent, and then coming back next year with a long-term plan from experts who can guide a long-term process on the rate side so that we don't have to do these large increases. If you look, think back a couple years ago, I think my first or second year on the rates, we came to you asking for a 21% increase on the usage rates for wastewater. We are still, that gives you an idea of how much we're still in the hole there. That we had, and we appreciate the council's approval of that. We know that wasn't easy also. So 10% is still relatively minor compared to what we asked you a couple years ago. And hopefully this gets us to the point where next year you're making these decisions with a longer term view in mind, with experts who can give you better advice than the three of us frankly can at this point, because they'll be able to study the system a little bit better. But this will get us through the year on a almost less than bare bones budget, and hoping we can get to a long-term solution. So that was that's the end of the presentation. We're happy to answer questions. There was a little more information in the packet as well about what the rates mean for low users, average users, and high users. So our preliminary estimates is a low user would see a $7.21 per quarter increase for both systems, total across both rates. Average user, 28.83% dollars per quarter, and a high user is $50.45 per quarter.
Yeah, and we've got, so define an average user, Brian. How much are they, give or take? What is their quarterly bill for an average user?
I would have to defer to that, Clint or anyone would tell you more than that.
I knew, do you have it? Thank you.
$452 for an average user.
52?
452.
450. Really? Per quarter? No.
That's,
I mean, our
Per quarter?
yeah.
quarters.
Oh, I'm so
Oh, you were
sorry.
doing it annually. Okay.
I'm so sorry.
I was like, no. I'm like,
So 110.
holy mackerel, I'm way below average.
I was going to say, well, I'm doing better than I thought.
So sorry.
Listen, I appreciate this. My suggestion to the council would be a 3% increase in all charges, base, and a 15% increase in your use charge.
So 18%.
These funds are in trouble. And, I can probably predict what folks are going to tell us, next year when they do the rate study. It's probably going to be less than this. So, you're right. These aren't easy decisions to make. But this is about consumption. What do you use? When you turn on your faucet, you use water. Just like when you turn on your lights, you use electricity.
Yep.
And right now, we simply are not charging enough. I mean, not that I've done a rate study, but I can do math really, really well. And, I would feel better about a 3%, and that would be across the board, connection fees, everything. So anything that is fixed would increase by 3%, and that's just inflation. I mean, when you look at the cost of chemicals, when you look, and that's the bulk of our revenue, believe it or not, is those base charges, not the use fees. So even though 10% may seem like a huge number, when you're looking at, your usage, when your usage is like $30 a quarter, for the actual cost of the water is $30 a quarter, it just paints a very different picture. So I'm thinking we do 3%, because that's the bulk of our revenue, is those base charges. So we do 3% on basically all of the fixed charge to include, to include the bulk water, to include the connection fees, which are currently $2,000. So they'd be $2,060. Not that we do a lot of connection fees, but, everything.
Didn't we just determine that the bulk water can't be changed right now because
It's in the agreement.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So that one.
I got you.
There's some that we can't move yet.
Yeah, so, with apologies, council, I mean, if you want to know what is the responsible thing to do, 3% on the base and 15% on the use. That's the responsible thing to do to set these funds right. It's not a fun thing to do, but yes.
Tell me again about the intermunicipal agreement, because I ask this every single year. When can we change it?
We are, part of the rate study is, that Wright Pierce is doing, is a recommended intermunicipal agreement. And
That's just for wastewater, though?
that's just for wastewater.
And so then if we did a water study, that would also include that?
Yeah, but the only thing that's in the intermunicipal agreement on the water side is that bulk water.
Okay.
So all of, our customers in Barre Town, they get charged the same rate as the Barre City customers. It's
Right.
just
And they're
the
bulk water
It's the bulk
users.
water that we sell to Barre Town. They have two small fire or water systems, and they buy bulk water from us
Okay.
at times during the year.
Okay.
Relatively low use there.
Yeah.
For the most part, the agreement with Berrytown was simply that we would charge their residents the same price that our residents are paying. They're not getting a discount. They pay the same rate that everyone, they pay the same price that we pay. They're drinking the same water. So that part is right. To be honest, maybe we should talk to the select board about revisiting that. There are municipalities that have customers in neighboring municipalities who are charging them, for example, 20% more. And the theory behind it, and it has been challenged in court, and they lost, the folks who said, no, you can't charge us more, actually lost. The theory behind it is that the Barre City users paid for all the infrastructure. And they're enjoying the benefit of that. And like I said, it's just a theory. You could argue it. It's certainly a discussion I'd be willing to have, but I just want to manage the expectations that that's not going to make the water and sewer funds whole. Even if we got rid of the bulk and said, no, we got to, there's two small fire, there's East Barre, is it South?
Barre and Websterville.
Yeah, I mean, they're so small.
And they are connected to Graniteville, who ends
Right.
up, they buy the water.
And
through us.
they don't buy all their water from us. Every once in a while, their well runs low, and we need to sort of replenish them with water. So, even if we were to revisit, and I'm fine with contacting the Barrytown Select Board and saying, look, we can do it the neighborly way, which is, we agree there's a 3-year lead time. If we want to change that agreement, we have to give them notice, and we can't do it for 3 years. If that's the case, okay, fine, we'll see you in 3 years, and the increase will be 25%. Or we could plead our case and perhaps settle for something that is lesser than that. If they would agree to waive 3-year notice, we would settle for perhaps a 10% differential. But that's all in the future. Today, as we sit here, I'm just telling you that I don't like this decision. I don't like increasing it by 10%, but I feel a greater obligation to do something more, because let's face it, you're not fixing the problem here tonight.
No.
And not that you're not being responsible, but you're not. You don't want to come to the council and say, I need a 50% increase. Right? I get it. But I think as a council, I think we need to be responsible and fiscally responsible. And I realize that some folks aren't going to like this, but we need to be responsible to our enterprise funds and increase the base by 3% and the use fee by 15%. That's my recommendation to council. You can follow it or not. It's your call. Yes.
I'm comfortable with that. I understand the argument and the logic, and it's, it's not a great feeling, but it is a necessary feeling. Pure process question. Memory serves, we've already approved the fee schedule for connections and things like that. Can we make this change in this meeting, or would we have to reopen the fee schedule document in order to make those proposed changes?
We can, I know we've changed the fees mid-cycle. I think, and I've worked with Carol on this. I know there's usually a 30-day notice period in the paper. We have to publish the fees and then.
It's 14.
Oh, 14, thank you. So we can certainly do that mid-cycle. What I would recommend, we certainly very appreciate.
Yeah, and I'd waive that. Listen, if the staff, it's not like we have that many hookups.
It's not a huge.
So if staff recommendation is, okay, Tom, I get it, we'll do those across the board, we won't do the hookup. And then we'll revisit, we'll do that next year.
Next year's.
In the next cycle. So if you want to make that adjustment, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, and what I would recommend, first of all, thank you. This is going to be wonderful news for, I know, Jake and TJ, who struggled with us on these budgets, are going to be thrilled. And this is a hard decision, but it's the right decision. And what I think we would have to do is come back to you on the 28th, because this is for billings effective September 1, so there's a little bit of time. The resolution is very specific. You saw the numbers are specific to the increase we proposed, but I think we can come back with the corrected resolution at the next meeting that would reflect the direction that we're getting tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone okay with that? Like I said, it's not a decision, but as I read through this and then I went through the city reports and, we've got a little work to do there. And we're fortunate, I mean, honestly, in terms of, yes, we've got to put some money into the wastewater plant, but in terms of our water quality, in terms of our water capacity, in terms of the capacity at the sewer plant, once we get some of these projects done, we're sitting in much better shape than a lot of municipalities who are on allocation and can't expand at all because they don't have the capacity. So to me, it's just important that we maintain the capacity and maintain the funds.
And I'll just say that, one of the things that we are lucky for is the staff that we have.
Yep.
They are eager to improve the system. And that's why we are over budget, because we have staff now that are more than willing to improve it and maintain it and do that. So, I'm very glad you change that so that we can provide them with the resources and they can do their job.
Perfect. Byrne Rose, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Mayor, thank you for that proposal. I wholeheartedly support that, increasing the amount of allocation and to the 15%. I think that's really important. I think it will also help people when we can send out information in water bills and sewer bills and use some media to tell people why their water bill is going up and what it's being used for. Just like potholes, they see potholes, but they don't realize that every time we turn on the faucet, we're seeing our investment. And I think it's important for us to know that that is also a finite thing. And if we have experiencing some other kind of a flood or a drought, to help educate the public about conservation and something that we can start doing now, how do we conserve water? And that will reduce use in the wastewater also. So thank you for that proposal. I'm solidly behind that.
Thank you. Council, anything else? Any other questions to resolve? Yes.
A brief, building on just what Byrne just suggested, I wonder if there is an opportunity as part of the conversation about why the rates are increasing to schedule some public tours or visits of either the water treatment or the wastewater treatment plant, so that people really understand the magnitude of the work and the importance of the work that goes on there. I think it's something we often take for granted.
It's a wonderful.
Yeah, we'll have to be a little bit careful with that, only because they're.
With safety concerns at the top of the list.
Yeah, with the safety, not only safety, but also security
Yep.
concerns.
Totally understand all of
Yeah,
this.
okay.
I wonder, piggybacking on that, if we could just
We could video
record a
it.
tour,
Yeah.
because then you could put it on the website, and we can take out the
Good
things that we
idea.
want, and we don't have people necessarily showing up.
Yeah.
I think more of them would be
Yeah.
great.
I mean, I think the tour that we went on was amazing.
Yes.
And I think it would be really great to be able to show people, you know, what the process is. And the people who are running it, they're doing a great job. So, yeah, I think that would be great. And you won't have to deal with the smell at the wastewater plant if you have video.
There you go.
Win-win.
Okay, good idea.
Nail everyone in their water bill.
Okay, council, if there's no other questions, we'll move on to item 8F on the agenda.
Do we need
This is to approve the fiscal year 27 flood resiliency plan that was in your packet as well.
Certainly. Thank you, Mayor. I will wait for the manager to get the slide up, but this is the conclusion of the process we've undertaken over the last couple of weeks. Took us slightly longer than I anticipated, with apologies for that, but I was able to capture some additional updates in the plan, so that worked out well. Goals tonight: final review of changes to the flood resiliency plan, of which there are not a ton, but we'll go over them. And then the goal is at the end of this a motion for official adoption of the updated flood resiliency plan. All right, to review the things that we moved to completion/check-in: emergency access to the public safety building. That one is 100% finished. Investigate strategic riverbed maintenance. We had, I think, a robust conversation about this at the council meeting, pointing out we are never going to stop doing this. We are never going to stop talking about doing this. But we did a focused period of time on education and sort of further demonstration for folks. I know I've continued to have email correspondence with folks who ask and follow-ups at this, and we may pull it out of the mothballs for future focused conversations, but for now it can be moved into future check-in stage. Changed. We had, I think, also a good, robust conversation about 3 goals that needed just better focus or better capturing what our goals for them were. Continued investment in city staff. As we agreed, that is a forever need. There are now some new steps forward, including applying for the state funding to continue the housing and homelessness coordinator position. We've had updates on how that is moving forward, including from our city lobbyist. And there was also the suggestion from council for an ombudsman or resident outreach position that has now been put as a suggestion in the plan. And the plan continues to call for the sort of incorporation of city staff support into all of our big grants that we go forward. Basically, always plan on trying to pay for staff positions and support city staff positions, so we are not overtaxing existing city staff when we take on these massive, huge grants, that we plan for that capacity as we're writing grants. So that section had some substantial changes that reflect that. Pursue buyouts. As we had discussed, the city, while it does have some buyouts to continue through the process, it has finished doing this as a big push. We are out of the period where folks can apply for new buyouts. We are moving steadily through the buyouts that have been approved or are about to be approved, and we have been moving with diligence through that. So now that goal is reframed to develop buyout spaces into floodplain and community spaces. And we had a council meeting before this council meeting tonight that I think started off a good conversation about process for what those buyout lots can and should look like. Each one is going to have a slightly different best and highest use. And so now this goal calls for doing a little bit what we started tonight, developing that process, making sure that we are stewarding those new green spaces in Barre City appropriately. The last piece that changed, we had a conversation about infill development, although ironically, like the meeting after we had that, we approved the purchase option for those 4 lots for infill development. But that one was tweaked now to increase housing density, and that calls for a couple of things. It calls for continued infill development, but it also calls for investigating ways to bring units, quote unquote, back online. or supporting people in their housing. And it's a little bit of a tangled goal. We'll see how it works out for our focus, but it sort of encompasses all of the ways in which we can improve existing housing in Barre City, whether that is small grants and volunteer support to help seniors stay in their housing, whether that is conversations with landlords through the city's continuing housing task force about, do you have empty units? Why are they empty? Is there something the city can bring its resources to bear to solve? And also a continuing focus on developing more densely the spaces that are downtown, that are accessible to services, that are on water and sewer, and so on. All right, new sections. We have 2 new sections. Install a river gauge on the Stevens Branch, the Joe Aldsworth Memorial River Gauge on the Stevens Branch. And I put the full text of what is going into these new plan sections in this slide for you. So the city's current system of accurately gauging river levels and potential flooding is woefully inadequate. It's spray paint on a wall that doesn't help anyone unless we put a webcam on it. And even then, not ideal. The city should purchase a river gauge and commit to its annual maintenance fee, as we've discussed. This is a not insignificant upfront cost and ongoing maintenance. Just 48 hours ago, was it, Manager? We got some really interesting outreach from friends of the Winooski who may have some ways we can pursue less expensive river gauges that still are compatible with U.S. Weather Service systems. So we'll be pursuing that. We may have them come to talk about it. They're excited about this idea because it means they can more fully deploy them, but that requires a lot more investigation. So that is a new piece of the plan that's under the data collection. The next piece, improve the Gutters Brook flooding. This is a project we discussed. This is funded. This is planned. It just needs final engineering and then actual contracting and execution. This is, just to refresh, this is repositioning the debris racks on Gunners Brook itself in that floodplain buyout section so they do not create dams again. It is pursuing the buyouts, largely those on Harrington Ave, but there are a few others scattered in that area to create additional floodplain. It is building a flood wall at what is the end of what will now be the end of the new end of Harrington Ave and a couple of others to protect Maple Ave. And this goal also calls for, at the very end there, something that we had conversation about in that North End listening session, which is the city should pursue upstream flood remediation opportunities, including expansion of floodplain and debris catchers to stop the influx of gravel and silt from adjacent properties. These are some pieces that were called for in that Gunners Brook study in 2015. And we did the pieces inside the city and did not fully pursue the pieces outside of the city. And I think that there is a tenor, if I may, across the board in the plan, which is that we are going great blazes on a lot of projects within the city. We are moving through things, even really big, complicated things. We would like to be moving faster, but we're actively seeking the funding in order to move faster. And I think that there is a small but perceptible shift in we are going to need to participate and pursue more fully ways to decrease flooding risk from outside the city. Whether that is purchasing floodplain outside the city, whether that is participating in regional coalitions, advocating at the state level. I think we are starting to get a really good handle on what's inside the city. It's a long list, but we know the list and we're working through it. The sort of big question marks are outside the borders of the city, and that's where we are probably going to have to start to continue to focus. All right. Added to future projects, find ways to support small construction projects that keep residents in their homes, accessibility, upgrades, safety concerns, drainage, flood mitigation. This went a little bit into that increased housing density, but it was an idea from council that I think deserves its own goal at some point in the future. And I just lost it on mine. So investigate, and the second is investigate exactly as I just said. Investigate ways for the city to purchase, support, or contribute to upstream floodplain management outside the bounds of Barre City. So those are the two sort of going into the future project section. I would also add that every single project, every single goal got at least some language change, some update. Many of them we achieved the next steps that were laid out in the last update, so I updated it with the next steps. Only a handful saw no good progress, and I think we all know and continue to be frustrated by those, the Berlin Street and the Willie Street Bridge are probably my biggest red flags in things that just we aren't moving and due to lack of funding in the way that we should. And then my sort of 1A of that is to resolve the Courier Park and Potash Brook flooding, in that we don't yet know what really is going to resolve those things. The other projects are at least scoped, planned, and advised. We don't yet have a good plan for that area. So those are my two high priority pieces that we are lacking in progress on. But almost everything else we have made. It's always genuinely kind of a pleasure to update this because we do get so much done from time to time. I'll also add that I did a significant amount of updating of the fine tuning of the pieces during that flooding event on Thursday night, channeling all my anxiety into just double checking every line in the thing before I sent it off to the manager for inclusion in the report. And it felt very real to be doing that at that time and timely and urgent. So the full plan is in the packet. That's what we would be. As I said, almost every page got some small language update, but I've reviewed the actual substantive changes. Any questions or comments? Yes, Counselor.
First of all, I want to apologize because I have a few comments and I realized I should have given them to you before it's time to approve them. So if they just need to go on a note for the next time you revise, I'm okay with that.
If they're not substantive, I'm happy to incorporate
Oh,
typos.
they could be substantive.
Okay.
So for 2.2 communications upgrades, I would love to see us include and update the website. And the reason is when we updated the website at the BUUSD, we were able to put up a pop-up when school was closed for the day. And I think we could use a more a better website we could use to inform people as well as regroup, but we could use it, if people go there, we could give more timely information. So if we could include that. And then I did find a spelling error.
It's fine.
You're missing on 2.3 under progress, the second bullet. It says a city planned flexible funding, but you're missing an E.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you.
And on the 3.2 stormwater system repair, is it we commissioned a stormwater system analysis from SLR Consulting, but was it a complete stormwater?
No. So our goal was to commission a complete, but and please correct me if I'm wrong, basically it was going to be too complicated and too expensive, so we did a large chunk.
Okay.
So maybe I should update that to.
Well, that was my question, if we should say a complete or it's not complete.
Yeah,
because there's
you're right.
parts of it that we aren't going to.
I'll just delete the word complete.
Okay, perfect. My other question under this stormwater system repair, upsizing and maintenance, and I think it kind of falls under this, but I wonder if it's sort of just a future thing. I would love to see us combine stormwater mitigation with traffic calming, safer streets initiative. And I'd also love to see an ordinance for when people renovate, put in new page surfaces, that they must be permeable.
I'm wholly in favor of that, but I think it's a separate goal.
Okay, then maybe we can
And
just
that can
make
go into a
goal.
future.
Future's fine. I just think that we could find ways to encourage people to do other things. We already talked about developing a process for green spaces. One other tiny minor thing, under 3.7, you have debris catcher at Delmont Street. I live on that street. It's actually Delmont Ave.
That is a nitpicky. All right, Delmont Ave.
It's very nitpicky, but it's my
is,
street.
yeah.
So I would like it to reflect what it's
shouldn't have done
actually
that.
called.
That's needlessly confusing.
And I think that might be all of them. Oh, no, wait, one more thing. Under other areas, when I was out door knocking, I had a long conversation with a couple of people at the end of Orange Street, past West Patterson.
Yep.
And I wonder if we could include that, because those people are very concerned about erosion.
This is the geographic areas for focus?
Yes, yes.
Yep.
They're very concerned about that bank that's eroding, not the West Patterson bank, but the one where the ravine comes through. So
Yeah, that whole Orange Street has
The
its own
very end
tiny
of
little-
Orange Street,
Yeah, but
that-
like all of Orange Street, the manager was just saying, and friends who live on Orange Street sent me pictures on Thursday night of it coming down towards Liberty. There's some weird little micro thing going on there too.
Yeah, so I think that should just be included as well.
Yep.
And that is, I think, all of my notes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, I guess I would respond briefly to that, to my mind, all of the changes except adding update website to the communication are not substantive. I think if council wants to add update website to the communications area of the plan, we can either hold off on 2 weeks for approving this, and I can make that change, or we can approve this tonight and just bring it back in the future, or if I'm maybe making too much.
Approve it with the change.
Oh, we can approve it with a change. I guess maybe I'm just being too whatever.
You've heard the changes. Changes are on the record.
Yeah. I mean, as long as
Easy.
everyone's okay with those
Yeah, I am.
changes.
So the appropriate motion would be to approve the fiscal year 27 flood resiliency plan with the changes as discussed.
So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I would just briefly add, Councilor Spalding, is it okay if I send the plan with my tweaks from my notes from your conversation back to you, just to make sure I've captured them?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much. Council will move on to item 8G on the agenda. This is just a quick discussion of the CDBG-DR Round 3 applications. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I think this one will be quick. So the city, there was no memo in the packet for this. I think it's just a quick discussion item. On June 16th, we submitted 3 pre-applications for round 3 of CDBG-DR. We submitted, the applications were for the North End buyouts project, separated from the North End elevations project, and then a sort of a catch-all 143 North Main Street planning and development project. The full application deadline is Monday, August 31st. We have retained Jim Levinsky again to do the grant writing. This would be very, mostly light grant writing. The North End buyouts, the North End elevations have all been written. Really, he would be helping with document the procedural stuff around the grant that takes a lot of time. And then the 143 North Main grant would have to be written from scratch. The purpose of putting this on the agenda was to get your buy-in for these 3 applications. There is not enough money to fund all of them. They're all for roughly about $4.3 million, which is about what's left. But that's, the North End buyouts cost that much, the North End elevations cost that much, and for the 143 North Main Street, we figured we'd go for that much as well. The council could apply for any amount up to that. We recommend putting them all in as is. But we wanted to get your nod of approval that you would like staff to work towards getting these in. As I said, Jim is ready to do the work if we give him the green light. And what would happen is Janet would sort of manage the procedural stuff, right? You'll have to do a public hearing again. You'll have to do the public notices in the paper again. And so she would sort of manage that part of it. And we would have something ready to turn in on Monday, August 31st, if that's your pleasure. So really just to get, make sure that we're working on the stuff you want us to work on. And if that's the case, we will make sure to get these all set up and the procedural steps in line to be able to submit.
Yes, please. Yes.
Have we had any pointed or otherwise conversations with the folks at ACCD about what changes we need to make to these applications to make them more successful?
We have, they're not sure that these are the type of applications they're looking for because they're not as they describe them, sort of shovel-ready and housing increasing of housing stock. These are really creation of floodplain and preservation of current housing. Obviously 143 North Main Street could be viewed as new housing depending on what comes up, but it's also not a shovel-ready project, right? So not running to the bank on these yet, but I think that from our perspective, we we submitted the pre-applications, A, to keep options open, and B, because, you know, in a way, I thought we owed it to the residents of the North End to fight for funding every round of the way, even if the odds are against us. But they're looking, what they've said when we submitted the pre-applications is they're looking for net gain in housing, which hard for us to argue at this point. And they're also looking for that plus shovel ready. And so the odds are what, you know, maybe not with us, but we think that it's.
We have those conversations going forward.
Yeah.
I have them weekly. To make sure that, and again, the point that I'm trying to make is that our North End is an area, is arguably one of the, in terms of the 23 flooding, one of the hard, in terms of number of residents impacted, hardest hit areas in the state. We cannot, the state doesn't even have the funding. If we wanted to propose a North End master plan that built 300 units of new housing, $4.2 million simply wouldn't do it. As we stand today, we need that money to plan. We need that money for a North End master plan. We need that money to affect some of the buyouts. We have to start somewhere. And we learned this lesson with Wabi Park when we offered to give that land to a developer for $1. And the developers came down and looked around at the surrounding and how the rest of the neighborhood looked and said, I don't want to invest my money here, not now. So, you know, that's our reality, and that's the point that we're continuously trying to make is, you know, we have to start at the beginning. And the beginning is cleaning up some of the damage that is there, doing some of the flood mitigation work, affecting some of the buyouts so that we can get it to the next step, which is building more housing. So yes, Counselor, I will continue.
Right.
I will continue to have that conversation as often as they'll pick up the phone. Sometimes they let it go to voicemail. Most of the time, they're really good about picking it up. Any other questions, Council? Okay, I don't think we need an approval on this, but I'm not hearing that anyone anyone feels differently about the plan to submit, so that's great.
Great, thank you.
Okay, Council, we'll need an executive session between item G and H before we talk about appointing an acting city manager effective July 18th, 2026. So a motion to enter, motion for finding, would be in order. This would be under personnel.
So moved. Second.
It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, I'll need a motion to enter executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed will be in executive session in just a moment. David, I don't know if we will have a decision under 8H or not. So I apologize, but I'm not sure at this point the purpose of the discussion.
I'll hang out. I mean, it's fine with me.
Okay, thank you. Council, I would entertain a motion to exit executive session.
So moved.
Second, please. Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, Council, we will be deferring action on item 8H for now. We'll move on to upcoming business. I'm going to defer that as well. It's getting late. I want to get you all home. Roundtable, Councilor Deering.
Go to the Heritage Festival next weekend.
There you go.
I have three things, but they're quick. First, a thank you on behalf of the Neighborly Berry Committee for the micro grant. We're very grateful. The garden tour and party was a terrific success. Another thanks to the Barre Fire Department because a branch fell on the wires next to my home and caught on fire, and they came up and supervised that until Green Mountain Power came in. I was very, very grateful for that. And then I just wanted to note with thanks again, the pool mural party was really a lot of fun. We went to that, and the kids were great, and Michelle is doing an amazing job.
Thank you. Councilor Guston.
Two things. The first is I'm hosting a Barre City Quilting Bee this Saturday at the Social Club. I've been posting on Front Porch Forum about it. A bunch of people are going to get together and turn scrap fabric into quilts to benefit Circle, just an organization that supports people who are experiencing domestic violence. I've linked all over Front Porch Forum, but please email me directly if you want to hear more. It should be just a nice day where people are crafting in support of a good organization, and if it goes well, we will repeat for other organizations. And the second is kind of on a personal note. I think folks have heard the news out of Maine that a man was murdered by agents of Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And my great-great-great-grandfather was an immigrant who came to Maine and settled in Biddeford, Maine, which is where the man was murdered the last few days. He came for a better life to work in the mills in Biddeford, which is a community like Barre that is built on and by immigrants in an industrial setting. And I have a ton of family still in that area. And I am heartbroken and horrified by what is happening and the attitudes towards immigrants and what people think is the direction we are heading as a country. And this one just hit particularly close to home. So.
Thank you. Councilor Spaulding.
I have two things. One, thank you for the sidewalk on Camp Street. That is amazing. It was the most amazing thing to drive up Camp Street and see that they were putting in a sidewalk, because I've walked that street a bunch of times and there's no sidewalk. There was no sidewalk. And the other thing is I wonder if, I've been watching the World Cup because I love soccer. I'm imagining that there's someone here at the table who will soon not be our city manager, who's also rooting for a team in the World Cup. And I would like to put in a little plug. If Argentina should win the World Cup, we should light up City Hall in blue and white.
Oh, that would be, it would be on Sunday, the 19th, so I may not have the authority to do that.
I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there for someone to maybe think about that.
What's the final down to now?
Well, right now Spain is in.
Spain is in,
Now
and
tomorrow it's
Argentina or
Argentina and England, so. Anyway, that's
That sounds like a great idea.
Right?
Happen.
Just a quick shout out to the Barre Community Baseball 12 under team. Made it to the finals for the districts and didn't quite pull it out last night, but they had a great season. Good bunch of kids.
Fantastic. Likewise, I hope people take time to enjoy their neighbors, enjoy the Heritage Festival. There are so many events beyond even those who are, those events that are listed. So I hope people really take the time to enjoy themselves. I really enjoy that weekend. Councilor Guston, I couldn't agree with you more. It is just time for ICE to pull back, suspend, and it is off the rail. They're poorly trained. Their execution, if you want to call it that, is even more poor. It's just an utter failure as an organization. And of course, you know me, I go from one extreme to the other. But whenever people start celebrating someone's death, sitting United States Senator, when people start celebrating someone's death, they have fallen so far into the abyss that I think all of the counseling in the world won't help them out, regardless of, and there are people that in government that I disagree with in terms of policy vehemently, but I would never wish them harm or celebrate their death. So it's just a sad commentary on what I'm seeing from some people, but I keep a list. So with that, council, we do not need an executive session because we had one, so a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, folks.
Night.
Right. Well, you did it.